In the rich tapestry of 1970s American television, few shows captured the shifting sands of family life with as much warmth, honesty, and comedic precision as One Day at a Time. This two-part episode, often referred to as The Runaways, stands as a quintessential example of the series' ability to weave together sharp domestic comedy with profound emotional resonance. At its center is Anne Romano, portrayed with remarkable depth and vulnerability, whose journey through single motherhood forms the emotional core of the narrative. As the episode opens, we are immediately thrust into the everyday chaos of the Romano household, where the boundaries between parental authority and teenage independence are already fraying at the edges. Anne's world, carefully constructed through hard-won independence following her divorce, begins to unravel with the discovery of her daughter Julie's deepening involvement with Chuck, a free-spirited but directionless young man, whose influence represents everything Anne fears for her child's future. The script masterfully establishes Anne's character from the very first scenes. We see her navigating the typical challenges of raising two daughters while maintaining her own sense of self in a post-divorce reality. Her interaction with Julie and Chuck during what should be an ordinary dinner reveals layers of concern, love, and frustration that define the single mother's experience in this era. When Chuck casually announces that he has dropped out of college, Anne's attempts to remain composed highlight her internal struggle. She wants to support her daughter's autonomy, yet the practical realities of life without education or stability weigh heavily on her mind. The writers brilliantly capture this tension through dialogue that feels authentic rather than preachy. Anne's line about wanting Julie to experience her senior year as the greatest time in your life carries the weight of her own regrets from marrying young and later facing divorce. It is a moment that resonates deeply with audiences who lived through the 1970s, a decade marked by rapid social change, where traditional family structures were being questioned and redefined. As the story progresses, Anne's heartbreak builds methodically. The revelation that Julie has been skipping classes and lying about her whereabouts introduces a painful breach of trust. Schneider's well-intentioned but clumsy disclosure about seeing Julie and Chuck in the leopard-spotted van during school hours forces Anne to confront the reality that her daughter is pulling away. Here the script excels in its scene-by-scene construction. The confrontation in the living room, where Anne presses Julie about the van and the mysterious mattress in the back, is both humorous and heart-wrenching. Anne's compulsive mothering, as Julie aptly labels it, stems not from a desire to control but from a deep-seated fear of repeating the mistakes of her own past. The episode uses this domestic setting to explore broader themes of 1970s feminism and single parenthood. Anne represents the liberated woman who has fought for her independence. Yet she now faces the challenge of guiding her children through the same turbulent cultural waters of free love, anti-establishment attitudes, and rejection of traditional success metrics. The emotional peak of this first act arrives with Julie's announcement of her engagement to Chuck. The ensuing discussion, which stretches across multiple scenes, showcases the writing's brilliance in balancing comedy and drama. Anne's attempts at calm discussion quickly give way to raw emotion as she learns that the couple plans to travel in the van, live with Chuck's parents, and reject conventional markers like rings or set wedding dates. Phrases like "paths have crossed and joined hands to walk together" are gently mocked by Anne, yet they reflect the era's countercultural language that many parents found bewildering. The script provides rich character insights here. Anne's vulnerability is laid bare when she questions how her daughter could hide such a significant development for a month. As a single mother, she has worked tirelessly to create stability only to see her child drawn to the very instability she escaped. This generational clash is not portrayed as simple rebellion but as a natural, painful part of growing up in changing times. When Julie finally runs away, leaving behind a note declaring her need to lead our own lives, Anne's world shatters. The late-night awakening of David Kane and the subsequent family mobilization capture the raw panic of parental helplessness. Anne's pacing, her desperate phone calls, and her confrontation with Schneider reveal a woman who is strong yet profoundly human. The episode does not shy away from her self-doubt. She wonders if her own emphasis on independence has inadvertently encouraged Julie's actions. This self-reflection adds tremendous depth to Anne's character, making her far more than a stereotypical sitcom mother. In the context of 1970s America, where divorce rates were rising and single mothers were navigating new social realities, Anne Romano became an iconic figure precisely because of moments like these. She embodies the struggle to balance personal liberation with maternal responsibility. The early scenes also establish supporting characters who enrich Anne's journey. Barbara's sharp observations and loyalty provide both comic relief and emotional support, while David's calm presence offers a counterpoint to Anne's anxiety. Even Schneider with his over-the-top antics serves to highlight Anne's isolation and need for community. The script's dialogue timing is impeccable, allowing laughs to emerge organically from tense situations, such as when Schneider backpedals frantically after revealing too much about the van sighting. These elements create a rich, layered portrait of family life that feels lived in and authentic. Throughout this opening section of the episode, the writers demonstrate a deep understanding of the 1970s cultural landscape. The rejection of higher education, the glorification of finding oneself, and the romanticization of life on the road were very much part of the zeitgeist. By filtering these trends through Anne's perspective as a single mother trying to raise responsible daughters, the show offers gentle satire without descending into cynicism. Instead, it celebrates the resilience required to face such challenges with humor and heart. Anne's heartbreak is not presented as weakness but as evidence of her profound love and investment in her children's futures. The episode's strength lies in its refusal to provide easy answers. As Anne sits with the reality of her daughter's absence, we sense the weight of single motherhood in all its complexity. She has built a life on her own terms, yet the fear of losing connection with her children threatens to undermine everything. This thematic foundation sets up the subsequent parts of the story where search efforts, family clashes, and eventual reconciliation will test and ultimately affirm the bonds of this unconventional family. In crafting such a compelling start to a two-part arc, the creators of One Day at a Time once again proved their mastery at turning everyday domestic crises into profound reflections on love, growth, and the enduring power of family in an array of transformation. The careful pacing of these initial scenes allows viewers to fully invest in Anne's emotional journey. Every awkward silence, every pointed remark from Julie, and every moment of maternal concern builds toward the devastating realization that Julie has chosen to leave. This is television writing at its finest, character-driven, thematically rich, and deeply relatable. Anne Romano emerges not as a flawless heroine but as a real woman doing her best in imperfect circumstances, making her one of the most compelling figures in 1970s sitcom history.